Let's be real, this isn't just a bump in the road. The 49ers just hit a wave of injuries that could change everything. And we're not talking about a minor tweak on the depth chart. We're talking about multiple core contributors going down at the worst time, the stretch run, the playoff push, the window where everything matters. This video lays out exactly who's hurt, what the fallout looks like, and whether San Francisco still has enough gas in the tank to survive and maybe even thrive. Because make no mistake, this is more than a rough patch. This is a test of resilience, a test of depth, a test of identity. The injury hits, who's down, and why it matters. First, let's run through the damage report. The injury wave that hit after the recent win shook the roster hard. The biggest blow, Ben Bartch. The left guard, who had rotated snaps this season, suffered a severe foot injury in the Browns game that is being labeled likely season-ending, possibly a Lisfranc injury. Next, Kyle Juszczyk. The veteran fullback fractured a rib during that same game, a fracture serious enough that his status is uncertain after the upcoming bye week. Defense isn't untouched. For instance, rookie linebacker Nick Martin is now in concussion protocol following the Browns contest. And let's remember, this isn't their first major injury this season. The 49ers have already weathered big losses, but this wave comes at a critical time, right as playoff scenarios begin to tighten, weather worsens, and demand for durability increases. So now the roster faces this reality: a weakened offensive line, diminished fullback rushing support, and defensive depth under pressure, all at once. Why this matters: structural and strategic fallout. Losing an interior lineman, especially a starting caliber guard, is never easy. For the 49ers, it bleeds into nearly every area of their game plan. 1. Pass protection/quarterback health. The offensive line keeps the station operating. When that line cracks, everything becomes fragile. Shift protection, lose rhythm, miscommunicate, get beat with pressure or stunts, all of these become real threats. For a quarterback like Brock Purdy, whose game relies on rhythm, timing, and anticipation, an unstable line changes everything. What once was clean pockets becomes scramble mode, and scramble mode invites mistakes, sacks, turnovers, injuries. 2. Run game and offensive identity. Losing a guard and a fullback in the same game is brutal for a team that leans heavily on its run identity. Without a reliable guard, run blocking loses consistency. Without Juszczyk's lead blocking or situational blocking, certain play-action concepts and inside zones get riskier or less effective. The stretch zone run edge becomes harder to sell because defenses know one gap might collapse. Put simply, the offense loses a lot of what made it dangerous and versatile. 3. Depth and resilience under pressure. Football seasons are tests of attrition. Teams that survive have depth. They have backups who step up. They have flexibility. They have coaching adjustments. With this many losses, the 49ers' depth chart, especially on the line and fullback tight end backside, becomes a guess. Every snap, every game, every opponent late in the season could unearth weakness. If there's a blowout or two or a key playoff game, depth will get magnified. 4. Psychological locker room impact. Injuries don't just drain bodies, they drain belief. When key guys go down, teammates sometimes tighten up, play safe, overthink. For a team like the 49ers, whose identity is aggressive, confident, physical, this could be a shift in tone. The mental grind becomes just as dangerous as the physical grind. What the 49ers must do. 4 critical moves. Now, this isn't a death sentence. Good teams regroup. Good organizations pivot. If the 49ers want to survive this wave, they need to act and fast. Here's what needs to happen and why it could determine whether this season remains credible or crumbles. Move 1. Stabilize the offensive line immediately. With Bartch out, the rotation ends. According to recent reports, Spencer Burford, who had been rotating at left guard, is now expected to take over full-time at that position. Burford must hold. He must play at a high level. He must stay healthy. Every snap becomes critical. Coaching must simplify protections, avoid overly aggressive play calls early, and protect the blindside angles until comfort returns. Move 2. Adjust the run game and offensive approach. Without a fullback and with a weakened interior, the 49ers may need to rely more on outside zone runs, counterplays, and quick passes. Use motion, misdirection, and tempo, not brute interior force, to move the chains. Tight ends and H-backs might need to carry more blocking responsibility. The playbook must evolve to fit the roster's current condition. Move 3. Manage player health, rotate smart, leverage bye week. They're heading into a bye week at just about the right time. Use it, rehab, reassess. Don't rush Juszczyk back. Monitor concussion protocols. Rotate guys carefully. Let backups get clean practice reps. Build a plan to stagger workloads for the final run, especially in December games when weather and field conditions worsen. Move 4. Reinforce depth. Free agency/trade market/practice squad elevation. This season's injury wave is a reminder depth isn't optional. If this team wants to keep competing at a high level, they may need to dip into free agency or promote from the practice squad. Whether it's a guard, a fullback type, or an extra versatile blocker, the front office needs to be ready. What this means for playoff hopes and the next 6 games. At 9-4 heading into the bye week, the 49ers still control a path to the playoffs, but this injury wave changes the odds. Worst-case scenario, the line collapses, the run game dries up, Purdy gets pressured, offensive identity vanishes, and the defense, already banged up, ends up overworked. That leads to losses in close games, fatigue, and maybe missing the playoffs entirely or entering as a fragile wild card. Best-case scenario, Burford holds the line, backups step up, offensive plan morphs, coaching adapts, and the team scrapes out wins through grit, urgency, and depth. This turns the narrative from injury crisis to resilience in adversity. That kind of identity galvanizes a locker room, fuels momentum heading into January, and might even deepen trust and chemistry. It's a delicate balance. The next 4 to 6 games will test whether the 49ers can survive this wave, not just physically, but mentally and strategically. Final take, this could define the 2025 49ers season for better or worse. This injury wave isn't just a bump, it's a crossroad, a test, a forced moment of truth for the 49ers. Do they fold under pressure? Do they limp to the finish line with a fragile roster and dwindling hope? Or do they adapt, retool on the fly, reinforce depth, adjust strategy, and emerge battle-tested, scarred but alive? The next few weeks matter more than many realize. Every snap, every block, every play action, every blitz pickup all take on intensified weight. For fans, this is the moment of anxiety. For players and coaches, this is the moment of resolve. If the 49ers come out the other end with strength, a defense stepping up, an OL holding ground, a run game evolving, Purdy staying protected, and team spirit rising, this stretch could reforge the identity of this roster into something scarier, tougher, more dangerous. But if depth fails, if the front office doesn't respond, if fatigue and injuries compound, this could be the season where promise collapses under pressure. That's the reality of football. That's the danger of injuries. That's why 2025 isn't just another year for the 49ers. It's a test, a battle for identity, a fight for survival.
And that's why, right now, you should be watching closer than ever.